السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. معكم مجد عسيري. تاريخ اليوم 12 جولاي 2019، وأنا حاليا متواجدة في وكالة الأنباء الماليزية برنامج نيوز، وبصدد تقديم محاضرة أخرى بإذن الله، ولكن هذه المرة للصحفيين والإعلاميين في وكالة الأنباء الماليزية.
Discover your inner strength. So without further ado, I'm really happy to pass this floor to Miss Majdi Muhammad Asiri. Tafadhal mashkura.
Thank you very much for introducing me. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Firstly, I want to say thank you for coming, and I also want to thank Bernama for having me today, and I want to thank also everyone who has been working on today's meeting. So today I'm going to be talking about something a little more different, but before I start talking about today's topic, I want to introduce myself. My name is Majd Asiri. I am 16 years old. I'm from Saudi Arabia, and I am a self-development trainer as well as a motivational speaker. And today I'm going to be talking about the specification success. So, overview of the subjects I'm going to be talking about today are two special things, which are my experience and as well as the specification success. So today's lecture is going to be a little different than any other lecture you've all attended before, because I'm not going to be just the only speaker talking about my own experience today. I'm going to be having some guests, which are my sister and my brother, that will be talking about their own experience and sharing their talent as well. So starting off, I started as a very talkative kid. You know, I would always just run around singing and screaming and just talking, want to be, you know, different than any other kid. And I'd also like to stand up for myself and, you know, just to be special. So at the age of 8 years old, I started learning the English language at home by myself. And in 2 months' time, I started speaking fluent English. And what makes it a little more special is that I didn't just learn the basic English that we learn in Saudi Arabia. So you might also recognize that I sound a little more different. You know, the accent from the movies I used to watch. I have the American accent, which I'm talking in right now, which makes me more comfortable talking in, as well as the British. I can sound some British sometimes. So it always comes to the techniques I used to learn the language with. So after learning the English language, in 2 months' time at home by myself, I wanted something a little more different, because since I saw everyone around me was like, oh wow, Miss, you learned the English language in, you know, short time and in a very easy way, because it was way too difficult for older people to just learn the language. And you know, I was 8 years old and I was able to pull this off and learn it very quick. So they got so surprised and they wanted to know how, when, what did you do? So I was like, okay, why not open a classroom at my house and start teaching other students the same age, my friends, my neighbors, people around. They wanted to learn. So I was like, okay. And I opened a classroom at my house and I started teaching the English language to the kids in the same way that I learned. So after teaching, my parents noticed that I have way too many different skills, that, you know, the public speaking, I can handle a big crowd, the cameras are fine with me. So they noticed that I actually had more skills than they expected. So it would be more easier and better for me to just, you know, work more into the training field and be a trainer. So the first course I gave, I was 9 years old, and I gave a course about the techniques of learning and teaching the English language. Since I had my own experience, and it was a successful experience, I learned and I also did teach, and my students learned the English language as well. So it qualified me to actually give a talk and teach people the same techniques that I used to learn and teach to other people. So that was my first course, and then actually I started getting more deep into the training field and started knowing more about the self-development and human resources and all of that. So I started giving the lectures and being officially a self-development trainer. My first lecture was in 2014 here in Malaysia. That was my start in Malaysia. My first visit was in 2014. I had an invite from the MMU University to give a lecture about the impact of youngsters and children in society. So that was my first lecture here in the MMU University in Malaysia. And then in 2016, I had another invite from the same university, but this time to talk about another topic, a new topic, which was more complicated than the one before. So I talked about the release your talent before you graduate. It was for the college students as well as the professors and some of the doctors there. And then in 2019, that was a very big year for me here in Malaysia because I've done multiple different things. First of all, I gave a lecture about release your talent. It was the title in VIA Academy here in Malaysia. That was the first one. And then the second one was in Harriet Watts University. I also gave the same lecture, but entitled Release Your Talent. And then I am actually giving one currently right now, which is here in Bernama, and I'm actually so glad. It is one of my biggest achievements until now. So 2019 has been a very big year because there are multiple different lectures that I gave before, so this is leading to a very great start for me. So these are some of the pictures from my MMU University lecture that I gave, some with the students and while giving the lecture. And then that is a very long story because I was in Worcester State University in the United States, and it was my sister's graduation day actually, and I don't know why I was there because I was the youngest there, so it was a little bit weird, but I was there and just to support my sister. So talking to her teachers and the doctors over there, they were so impressed and they were like, okay, no, seriously, let's talk serious. You are American. I was like, I swear to God, I'm not American. But I might sound like one, but I am not. I can assure you that 100% from Saudi Arabia. So they were so impressed because of my language and how good I speak. So they were like, okay, why not just get on stage and just introduce yourself to the crowd? And I was like, okay, but I never done this before and it's a new experience. They were like, you can pull it off, just go and, just be yourself. So this was actually my first time on a real stage in a university. So, I stood up there, I was like, hi, my name is Asiri, I'm 9 years old and I'm from Saudi Arabia. They were so impressed and I didn't even say anything like so impressive. So I was like, okay, what did I even say? Why are you so surprised? So in that point, seeing the people so impressed by what I did, I realized that I actually want to do this for the rest of my life. Like, I really want to just talk, and I want a big crowd, people listening to me, and I want to give them great information, and I want to be inspiring, and I want to motivate these people. So then I realized that this is what I actually wanted to do, and by giving multiple different lectures and having multiple different audience, I realized more and more how important this is and how I really, really like, and how I'm really passionate about what I'm doing. So this picture, the one right here, was with the past Saudi ambassador here in Malaysia, and I was way too young back then. And then this one was with the past Minister of Tourism and Culture here in Malaysia as well. We had a few meetings because we wanted something to relate with Saudi Arabia and Malaysia at the same time, and that I would be part of this, but then I don't know what happened. It got canceled, I guess. I'm not really pretty sure, but that was that. And then this picture right here was with the Saudi ambassador, but in South Korea when I went there, and then this one was in Malaysia as well. I had multiple different TV interviews, a lot, more than 30 TV interviews back home in Saudi Arabia. So you can say that I'm kind of pretty popular back in Saudi Arabia, since I had a lot, I'm famous. So my first one was when I was 8 years old. It was in a pretty famous, actually, TV channel. And just seeing myself on the screen, I was like, oh man, this is the moment I've been waiting for the rest of my life, and I was 9 years old. So I was like, yes, I wanted to do this. And it's just great to let people actually know that there are, multiple different people that are working on themselves, but people aren't really focusing on them. So that is that. Different, TV interviews. And then this was my lecture in the United States. I had an invite from TMSA school in America, and I gave a lecture to multiple different students, different classes, about share your talent with others. The children were so inspired and so motivated and impressed by the tools I gave them, and it just to give them this shot of energy to start working on themselves more and realize that they actually have to do something in this world. So that was the first one, and then this was with the head principal of the school, and then that one over there, it was another invite, but from the Iman Islamic Center in also the United States, and I gave a lecture as well for the students about share your talent with others. So like I told you, since I was 9 years old, I started teaching English to different multiple students. So in 2018, I wanted to try something different and switch things up. So instead of teaching English, completing and just teaching the random Majd series teaching English, I decided to switch things off and try something different. So I started teaching Arabic to the non-Arab people. These were my students, which are way older than I am, but this was in the British company back in Saudi Arabia. These were my students. I started teaching Arabic, and yeah, that was it. This is, you can say I gained so much British accent from them, so it helped a lot. So recently, my career was way different, you can say. I started by learning the English language and then teaching it, and also teaching the Arabic language, and then giving courses and lectures. But now I wanted something more deep and something that I really am interested in, and I actually want to study this even more deeper each time, which is the children's behavior, how the brain works, how children react, how they act, and everything about children's mind. So this is what I'm currently working on. This is my latest program, which is something related to the children's behavior. Okay, now enough about me. Enough is said. I introduced myself. You know me a lot now. So now I'm going to be talking about the other topic. We've already talked about my experience. Now I'm going to be talking about the specification success. What I mean by this, there are 5 points which are really, really important in my point of view, which are, first of all, number 1, self-awarenesses. Self-awarenesses is how you actually know yourself. So if I ask any of you right now, do you know yourself? You're going to be like, is she seriously asking? This is me, so of course I do. But I'm going to be asking you the same question later on when I explain more about the self-awarenesses. So self-awarenesses is number 1. If you want to put a goal, you want to be successful in your life, you actually need to know who you really are. And what I mean by who you really are is you need to be aware of all sides and all areas of yourself. I'm going to be talking about this more specific later on. Second of all is communication skills. Communication skills are really important because, on a daily basis, you actually communicate with people, so you need to have the skill as a person in your daily life. So this is very important if you want to actually success. And then self-development, because you don't want to stay in your same current level. You need to develop yourself so you can actually lead your way into success. And then there is relationship skills, which is different than the communication skills, all about the relationships, how to make one and how to get out of one and all of that. And then the managing complex change. To make it more clear, how to change. I'm going to be talking about every single one of these later on. So I'm going to be focusing on the self-awarenesses because in my point of view, it is the most important thing ever. You need to know who you are actually and every side of you so you can actually have a plan to success. So first of all, this is the first tool, which is the Joe Harry windows. How many of you have ever heard of the Johari windows before? No one? Well, lucky you, I'm going to be talking about it today. See, the Johari windows is a model. It was developed by two professors, which are Joseph Loft and Harry Ingram. It was developed, they're two professors which are in Harvard University, and it was developed in the 1950s. But it took so long for people to actually understand this model and start using it. So they started using it in the 1960s, you can say, and to be more specific, in 1967, it got out to people and people started realizing it and actually started using it in their daily life. So what that is, it is a window. Each one of us has a Johari window. And what I mean by this is it is divided to 4 parts. As you can see, the open area, the hidden area, the blind area, and the unknown area. Okay, Majd, now we need to be more specific because we need to get it more, we need to understand. I'm going to be talking about it more now. So the open area, what the open area is what you see in me and what I see in me. To be more clear, what I know about myself and what you know about me. For an example, you already know my name, that my name is Asírí. You know that I'm 16 years old, that I'm from Saudi Arabia, and that I learned the English, and you know my whole experience, because I've told you this before. So the open area, or you can call it the free area, it contains information, it contains maybe feelings. You can already tell that I'm so excited right now, so this is a feeling that is already clear to you, and it is information in the open area. So that's for the open area. Going next to the hidden area, which is what you don't see in me and what I see in me. So it's basically things that I know about myself, but you don't know about me. For example, this area can contain fears, mistakes that I've done before, secrets, different information that you won't be able to know unless I actually tell you about it. So it contains multiple different things, but you won't know about them until I tell you. So if I tell you one of my secrets, the information that I told you about will just go from the hidden area into the open area, making more sense when I talk. So if the information that was in the hidden area got out to people, it will be more known, and then making the open area get more bigger. So the different 4 windows can actually be large or small based on the information you actually put in them. So every window is based on the information you have in there. The blind area or the blind window is what you see in me, things that you know about me, but I don't know about myself. For an example, some of you might think she's talking way too fast. You say this, but I don't know about it. I think I'm talking totally normally, and I'm not talking fast at all. But maybe some of you think the opposite, or maybe you think something different. You've seen something in me that I don't know about myself. So in this area, there are different things in life that we don't know about ourselves, but other people actually notice about you. Whether you walk way too fast, whether you walk way too slow, you don't have your head up high, it's way too low. So people know these things about you, but you don't know it about yourself. So then it comes to a person, or it comes to you, whether this person is going to tell me, like maybe one of you is going to be like, okay, Majd, wait, you're talking way too fast. So then this information is transferring from the blind area. Now, since it's something that I know, it's going to the open area, making the open area get even more bigger. So it's a matter of the information and where you actually put this information. So then it also comes to me if I'm going to accept what you say. Maybe some of you might say, you're talking way too fast, and I'm going to be like, no, I'm not talking way too fast. I know myself more than you do, so just don't tell me. And then the same information is going to stay in the blind area, making the blind area get even more bigger, which will make you not know yourself. So if you want to know yourself good, you need to actually listen to what people have to say about you, because there are certain things that people know about you but you don't know about yourself. So if you listen to people, you're going to transfer the information into the open area, making the blind area smaller and the open area bigger. So then there is the unknown area, or the mystery area, which is basically information that I don't know and the people around me, you don't know too. So what do you mean, things that we both don't know? I mean things maybe related to the future. I don't know what's going to happen 5 years later. Do you? No, you don't. So it's things that I don't know and you don't know too. It also can be, if I were you, what would I do? If I was a journer. Now seriously, it's not time for it. But, if I was maybe in a certain job, what would I do? I don't know, and you don't know too. Or maybe it could be related to things that you can't find out about it until you do the test. Whether it's DNA or maybe vitamin B. I don't know if mine is low, I don't know if mine is high. But I will get the result after I actually do a test. So if I did, the information is going to be revealed, and it will just transfer to the open area, because it's going to be something that I know. So it's all a matter of the information and where you actually put your information. So the aim, the goal, why did these professors make the Johari windows? The goal is to make the open area the biggest area of them all, and to make the hidden area the smallest. What I mean by this is we can actually meet people in our lives, and they're like so mysterious, like you don't know what they're up to, you don't know what they're thinking, they're not clear at all. But if you actually start, and we can also meet people that won't listen to us. Like we give them certain advice, we tell them what we think, what they should do, but they don't listen to us, which makes the blind area even gets more bigger. And if it did, it will affect you personally, not other people, because you're going to be the one not fully aware of yourself. So how to make the open area the biggest area? First of all, is to try to share more things with other people than you usually do. I mean, for me, for an example, if I learned English, I could have kept it to myself, and my skill will be actually in the hidden area. I know some of my friends do speak fluent English, but they never told me that they speak fluent English. So the information stays in this hidden area, making the hidden area get even more bigger. But if you transfer the information, making it into the open area, which will make it the biggest area, then you will actually be able to be more successful, because it's like having your own personal information to people. Like you're going to be totally clear. People are going to know. It's like having your instructions. It's like telling people what they should do to you and what you like and what you don't like. You're clear with people. People know who you are, so they know how to act when you're around. They know how to treat you, and everything will be clear if the open area was the biggest. So each one of us needs to actually try to make his own open area bigger. I mean, when I started off, there were some people who were saying multiple different things, like, Mid, you need to improve your English skills, you're not good enough. And if I didn't actually listen to these people, I wouldn't actually improve, and I wouldn't know that I had a few mistakes. But I did. This is what makes my open area gets bigger sometimes. Yes, I do have some secrets. I do have some things that I don't share with others. My weak points, I would never go out and say, these are my weak points, I'm not good at this and I'm not good at that. So there are certain things that we need to keep to ourselves, but there are also things that we keep to ourselves, and we know that it's not necessarily needs to be hidden. So we actually need to share them with others. Now, if I ask you, do you know yourself? When you start realizing that there's a blind area, you're going to be like, okay, maybe, yes, maybe, kind of, not surely. Because there are things that you don't know about yourselves that other people do. So that was for the first tool. If you want to have self-awarenesses, we need to use the Johari windows. I mean, I just gave a few simple and talked about it way too simply. But if you want to do the same Johari windows and write down and list down the things that you need to change, you need to just write it down. When you go back home, you can just search it up, and then there are way more information in the internet than the information that I told you about. So the second tool to actually gain self-awarenesses and try to be aware of yourself is the personal SWOT analysis. It's the SWOT analysis. Have you ever heard of the SWOT analysis before? Yes, you do. Now, yeah. The SWOT analysis could be used in multiple different ways. You can use the personal SWOT to actually do the analysis on yourself, and we can also use it if we are going to be doing like a SWOT analysis for a business cooperation or different organizations that we have. So it's multiple different uses for the SWOT analysis. And what SWOT stands for, the S stands for strengths, the W stands for weaknesses, the O stands for opportunities, and the T stands for threats. So it's basically when you list all these 4 parts, you list them down to actually have a more clear vision of what you're going to do. So how to set your strength points is by asking yourself multiple different questions. And by asking yourself these questions and then answering them, your answers are going to be your strength points. What I mean by this is a question. What do I do well? What do I do well? For me, I can answer. I can speak fluent Arabic, I can speak fluent English, and I'm a great public speaker. These 3 points are one of my strength points. So if you ask yourself, what do I do well? I'm a great writer. I'm a great photographer. These are some of your strength points. So you need to list these down so you can actually know how to improve them. And then there's another question. What is the level of my education? For me, I'm a high school student. Some of you might be people who graduated already or maybe still students. I have no idea, but you need to answer them so we can actually get your strength points. And then, what is my biggest achievement? To be honest with you, my biggest achievement is standing here right now and just giving this lecture. So for now, it is one of the biggest achievements I've done before. So this is me answering to these questions. We'll actually set down my strength points. And then we have the weaknesses. What am I bad in? You ask yourself, what am I bad in? You're going to have multiple different answers. No one's going to answer this publicly, of course. So if you answer them, you will have your weaknesses. And it's not wrong to have a lot of weak points. What's wrong is if you have a lot of weak points, but you just avoid listing them down, so no one will find out about them, but then you're going to be the one losing because you won't actually be aware of what would I actually develop. So these weak points, I can list down what I'm bad in. What can I improve? For me, I can improve my Arabic skills, and I can improve my English skills. I'm still studying. These are things that I need to improve. And then there is the last question, which is, what task do I usually avoid doing? If we're going to be honest and you want me to answer, I'd be like, maybe yes, I do avoid doing my chores back home sometimes. Yes, I do. So if I write these down, and then I'm going to know what my weaknesses are. And then I'll be able to develop them, and maybe one day they'll change to strength points. So it's all a matter of listing these things down and then trying to have your plan, which I'm going to be talking about how you can actually have your own plan later on. And then the opportunities, which are really, really important. What trends do I see in my professional area? This is a question you can actually ask yourself. Things that are trending right now. For an example, one of the opportunities that I took advantage of is the social media and all of that. It was trending, the social media. You can just post a video of yourself and then you'll be famous. So this is what I did. I started off posting a video on YouTube, and then more people started knowing me. So it was an opportunity that I took good advantage of, and then later on, I started having TV interviews and all of that. So can I obtain better education? For me, yes, I can obtain better education because I'm planning on studying college after I finish my high school. So yes, this is an opportunity to actually have another level of education later on. Can I work something different? For me, I asked myself this question before I started teaching Arabic. I was like, can I do something different? I want to do something new I've never done before. So I started teaching Arabic instead of teaching English. So asking yourself these questions will make you be able to know your weaknesses. Your threats are really important. You need to answer these questions so you can actually know how to handle them later. What obstacles do I face? You need to write down the obstacles that you might actually face later on. So when it comes to the time where you actually face them, you will be able to know how to handle it and, just how to face it right. And then, are there changes in politics? If you're going to start working on something new, you need to be fully aware of the rules around you. So, you don't want to be shut down later, so you need to, be more aware. And then, is technology changing my professional field? A lot of people work on multiple different things, and then a new invention comes in the world and, your work is over. Because you don't want to work on something very hard and waste money, waste effort, and waste time, and then another person is going to invent a robot that does exactly the same thing that you do, but quicker, saving more money, saving more effort, and saving more time. So you need to know if technology is going to change your professional field before you start working on something. Because, we don't want to waste our money, we don't want to waste our effort and time, unless if it's going to be worth it at the end. So now I'm going to be talking about managing complex change, which I talked about in the 5 points of specification success. How to change. What's saying right here is, in time of crisis, we need to change. Like, seriously, and to be honest, we always wait for the bad things to happen, and then we're like, okay, now we need to change. Okay, but what if we actually used the time to change way before then? So when it comes to these times of crisis, we will be fully ready, and we will actually know how to handle them better. So if you want to change yourselves, there are 5 things that you need to have. And what I mean by this are these 5 different things. First thing is the vision. You need to have a vision so you can actually change. The second thing is the skills. You also need to have the right skills for your professional job. And then you need to have the incentives or the motivation. And then you need to have your resources and your action plan. Okay, what if I told you I have my skills, I have the right skills, I have my incentives, I am fully hyped and fully motivated, I have my resources, and I also have my action plan, but the thing I'm missing on is the vision. I don't have a vision, but I have all the other things. Am I going to be able to success? What do you think I'm going to feel like? Or what is going to happen if I have all of these, but I don't have the main thing, which is the vision? I don't have a vision, but I have everything else. What I'm going to be feeling is I'm going to be confused. It's confusion. It's a matter of confusion. Because the vision is the goal, it's the aim. So I have something in mind, I already set it down right there, and then I'm going to be walking through until I actually get there. So if you don't have your vision, you'll be confused. Okay, what should I do? What am I going to be? What's going to happen? So you need to have the vision so you can actually not be confused, because the vision makes everything more clear and more specific. Like, for an example, I can say my vision is to be a way, maybe I could say, I said this multiple times before, maybe the Minister of Education in Saudi Arabia. This is my vision, this is what I want to be. So then I will actually know how to work on this until I achieve my goal. So having your vision is really important because it is the main goal. What if I said, I have my vision, I have my incentives or the motivation, and I have the resources and I have the action plan, but I'm missing on the skills. I don't have the right skills. Am I going to succeed? Not having the skills? For an example, I want to be a great international trainer, but some of the skills I need to learn or to be able to speak fluent English, to be an international trainer. What if I don't know how to speak English? Like, I don't have the skill. Am I going to be able to be a trainer? It's going to be a matter of anxiety, because if I don't, like, for an example, I'm going to keep on talking about my example. I don't know English. I'm going to be like, okay, this person is going to come and talk to me, and I don't know what to reply. What should I say? What should I do? How can I talk to other people? How can I communicate with other people? So it's going to be all a matter of anxiety. I won't be able to achieve anything because I'm not feeling clearly fine, because I don't have the right skills. So each profession has its own skills, and if you want to find out what are the skills you need to follow the SWOT analysis, because having the strength points written and then having the weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, you will know what you're good at, you will know what you're bad at, and you know what are the things you can improve. So by doing the SWOT analysis, you will actually find out what your skills are. So you need to have your skills to actually complete your plan and change, because without them, you will have anxiety. Okay, if I have my vision, I have my skills, I don't have the incentives, but I have the resources and I have the action plan. So I have everything, but I'm not motivated. I'm not hyped up. Can I actually work something? No, I can't, because it's going to be a matter of resistance. For an example, let's talk about an organization, maybe. Okay, we're a team, and maybe I'm the boss. There are people working for me. So they are not motivated, and when you try to work something, the first question you're going to ask yourself is, am I going to be benefited? Is this going to help me? Is it going to be good for me to do this? If the answer is yes, then I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing. If the answer is no, then I'll be like, no, I'm going to save my time, I'm going to save my effort, and I'm not going to do this. So it's going to be a matter of resistance if you don't actually have the motivation. So what I mean by motivation, you need to be motivated to actually keep on doing what you're doing. I mean, every person of us can face some obstacles and can face some times in their lives where it's going to be like, there are way too many people talking about me, and way too many people who are saying bad things, and I feel like, okay, I don't have enough energy to complete what I'm doing. I mean, I started off in a very young age, but I started off also having some haters, so it was so hard because I was so little, and when I read these comments, I see some people commenting bad things, and sometimes it was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. So it gets to this certain point, but then I try to motivate myself. And what actually used to motivate me is seeing my younger sister and my younger brother looking up to me, and other people are like, we want to be like you. So for me, this is my biggest motivation, is knowing that there are different people that actually want to do the same thing that I've done, and they just get motivated because of the things that I did. So it makes me going, because I don't want to let these people down. I don't want to let my younger sister and my brother down, because I am creating a very great role model for them. So it's so hard not being good enough for them. So you need to find a way to motivate yourself, whether you can actually read about successful people, different stories. If you want to be an engineer, you can read about the multiple different successful engineers before, and how they struggled in their life and then they've done or accomplished their success. So there are certain times that people won't actually motivate you, so you need to find out your own way to motivate yourself. I mean, sometimes when it comes to final exams and studying in school, sometimes I get so frustrated and I'm like, okay, this is way too hard, I can't handle it. But I, in a way or another, find a way to actually motivate myself and be like, okay, Mish, you can do this. It's going to be just for a few different months, and then it's going to be over. The summer vacation is going to be there. So I find a way to motivate myself so I can actually keep going. So if you're not motivated, you can't change. So you need to have these 5 steps all complete. So if I have my vision and skills, the incentives are actually there. I don't have the resources, but I have my action plan. Will I work? I don't have the resources. For an example, I want to have a school. My goal is to build a school. But I don't have enough money to actually buy a building. I don't have enough money to actually buy the desks and all of that. I don't have enough money, or I don't have communications with other people so I can actually hire some teachers and people working at the school. Will I be able to actually have this done? No, I won't, because I don't have my resources. So if you don't have the resources, it will be frustration. I will be frustrated because I don't have the things that will actually make me get my job done. So you need to have the resources, whether it's related to the money and all of that, or it's related to the people, whether they're people working for you or people you're working for them, or it's going to be a cooperation between you and other people. So resources are very, very important. And then if I have my vision, skills, incentives, and the resources, but I am missing on the action plan. I don't have a plan, but I have everything else. Will I be able to succeed? It's going to be a false start, because the action plan, it's like an instruction. It's level 1, you need to do this. Level 2, you need to do that. Level 3, you need to do this. So if I actually don't have an action plan, I'm going to just switch the levels off. I'm going to do step 3, and then I'm going to do step 5, and then I'm going to do step 1. So it's not going to be in the correct order, which will just, it's going to be a total fail. So you need to have your action plan as well. So if I have my vision, I have my skills and the incentives, I do have my resources, all of them, and I have my action plan. Will I be able to succeed? So it's going to be a total success, and I will be able to actually change and just achieve the goal that I've been wanting to achieve. So how to change is to have these things, which are the vision. And if you want to have the vision, you need to have self-awarenesses, which I already talked about. Self-awarenesses, when you have self-awarenesses, you will be in control of your attitude, you will be in control of your personality, your emotions, your feelings, and everything. So when you are fully controlled, you have the right control, you will be able to change anything you want in your life if you have control of yourself, which is having high level of self-awarenesses. So self-awarenesses is number 1. It is so important. And then it's the Johari windows. If you do the Johari windows, you'll be able to actually write down your own vision. And also, if you do the SWOT analysis, you'll be able to have your vision. So it's basically how to have a vision. It's to do the Johari windows, the SWOT analysis, and to be fully aware of yourself. These are 3 key things to actually gain the vision that you're planning for. And then the motivation, this is the saying. It says people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. So, you need to motivate yourself, whether you can find your own way that you feel comfortable with, and start motivating yourself to actually start working something. So it all depends on every and each one of you and their own way in motivating themselves. And I actually am hoping at the end of this lecture, I'm going to be maybe an inspiration, or trying to give just a shot of energy and motivation to you. So then the skills, how to find out what your skills are, the right skills that you need for your professional job, is by doing the SWOT analysis, which we talked about earlier. And then the resources, which are environment resources, such as the desks, the projectors, whatever, all that things. And then there are the society resources, which are people, whether they're people working for you or you working for people, or it's a cooperation. And then the economy resources, which is all about the money and all of that. So the resources are very important to have if you actually want to change. So it depends on what you actually want to be, or what you want to do, and what you need to do so you can actually achieve what you wanted. And then the PDP, which is the Personal Development Plan, which you can call it in another name, the action plan. And what that is you need to know 5 things. Where are you going to start? For me, I started off at home, so it depends on where you're starting. And then when, you need to have the time when you started and the time you want to finish. I talked about my program, my latest one, which is about the children's behavior, and this program is 5 years long. So I'm going to be studying the children's behavior, and then I'm going to be transferring it into information that I give other people. And then it's going to be all about the courses and lectures. So you need to have the right time and just write it down. So it's where, when, who. Is it going to be just you? Or are there your friends are helping you, or your family is going to help? So you need to know who is going to actually be doing this. Is it you? Is it someone else? Or who? And then there is what you're going to be actually doing. For me, I want to be an professional international trainer in a few times later on. So this is my goal, this is what I want to be. So you need to know what you want to do, and then how you're going to do it. So for how, it's all related to the internet. I mean, you can search it up, and you will have multiple different things that will actually help you get through your things. So I'm going to ask you a quick question. What is the difference between the vision and the goals? I have a goal, and I have a vision. What's the difference between both? Or do you think that there is no difference? I mean, I have a goal to be the Minister of Education, or my vision is to be the Minister of Education. What's the difference between these two? No answers?
I think the goal is more specific. It's what is really what you want to achieve. Vision is general.
So you kind of got that point of it. So the difference between these two is that the goal is clearly what you want, but the vision is multiple different goals combined in one. So it's that having your vision is like having all the things you want to do, all your goals, but having them all together in one plan, which is going to be the vision. So having your goals, you need to know that you need to have SMART goals. What do I mean by SMART goals? Let me just be more specific. So what I mean by having SMART goals is your goal needs to be specific. It needs to be so specific so you can actually know what you're working on. It's how the SMART word stands for. S, you need to have a specific goal, and then it needs to be measurable. So we need to be more realistic, So it needs to be measurable, and then it needs to be achievable, something that you can actually achieve, and then it needs to be relevant as well, and it needs to have the time, the perfect time. So setting your goals, you need to set them in a smart way.